All right, welcome and Happy New Year. It's January 2022, and I am glad you all are here. And I've got a new, it's really short set that we're going to be doing. Now, this is using a 6x6 piece of paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 12x12 and cut it down to do this template. But if you have paper that's actually cut 6x6, that would be perfect. What we're going to do is I'm going to cut this, I'm going to make 2 of these, because what we're going to do is we're going to decorate our envelopes. So these will be, the first 2 will be used for decorating envelopes, and then last one would be to use to decorate a card. All right, so what we're going to do, now if you want to make cards, then you want to cut this at 5.5. If you're going to do the envelopes, then you want to leave this at 6 inches. So this would be 5.5 by 6 inches. 5.5 by 2.25 if you're going to use it as a card. If you're going to use it to make an envelope, then we're going to be at 2.25 by 6. So we're going to do 2 envelopes and a card. And then I'm going to come back and cut it again. So that way we'll be able to make, we'll be able to make 3 cards, and then we'll do the envelopes. All right, so let's go ahead and get our paper cut. Now I am working with the new Sweet Talks paper from the new mini catalog, which comes out on January 4th. And I also will be offering a paper share. So if you're watching this in January and you're interested in that, shoot me an email and I'll send you the information. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this as if I'm going to make the envelopes. So I'm going to cut this at 5.5 by 6 inches, and then I'll cut it at 2.25 inches, and then we'll go from there. So let me go ahead and cut this at 6 inches first, and I'm going to cut this twice, because I want to make cards, and then I also want to make my envelopes to cover. Now we're going to cut this down at in half, so it's 12. So we're going to cut this down to 6 inches. I'm going to put this aside, and then I'm going to turn this, and we're going to cut this at 6 inches again, okay? All right, so we're going to cut this at 6 inches, and now I have my 2 pieces, all right? So my first flap, this is going to be for my envelopes. I want to cut it at 2.25. So I'm going to move it over. That's 2.5. So I'm going to back it up to the 2.25 mark, and I'm going to cut that down. And we're going to cut 2 of these. Okay, so there's 1, and then we're going to cut another one at 2.25. And then that's going to leave us a 1.5 strip that we can use to make a card. Okay, so we're going to have 2 envelopes and 1 card. And now we're going to make 3 cards, and we'll have 3 envelopes. So let's cut 1 at 2.25. Okay, so this is going to be our 3rd envelope, right? So we've got 3 envelopes because I'm using 2 pieces of paper. So we have 3 envelope pieces, right? Now the next ones I'm going to cut are going to be, I'm going to trim off, because this is at the 6 inches, right? So I'm going to cut off that 1/2 inch, because we want to be able to, we're going to use this for a card. So we're going to bring this down to 5.5 inches, and I'm going to cut that right there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one, because this is the one that we cut initially. That was at 6x6. So we're going to cut this one down to 5.5, because we're going to use this as a card as well. Okay, so we'll have a couple of little scrap pieces, not much. All right, so we've got this one cut down to 5.5. Now I'm going to cut this one at 2.25. And then we have our, we have 2.25 and 1.5. So right now we're using 2 6x6s, and we've got enough to make. We're going to make 3 cards here, and then we've got materials to make 3 envelopes. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let me get the cards. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, here again is the template that we're using. So we're making 3 cards and 3 envelopes, and this is what I did. I'm using the Sweet Talk paper out of the new January through June mini catalog. And I'm taking a piece of thick basic white. I've cut it at 8.5 by 5.5. And then I used a strip of Highland Heather to pull out the color in the paper, and then stamp The Best Moments in My Life Happen With You. And that, the Daisy Lane stamp set, which is in the annual catalog. And then I turned the paper over because it had the Highland Heather stripes on the back of this particular pattern. So I thought that color coordinated with that. And then the next one, I did another basic white at 8.5 by 11. And this is using the strips that are, should be the 1.5. Yeah, 1.5. And then I'm using the new Real Red Roche faux linen. And I just put a strip there with adhesive. And then I stamped Know That You Are Loved. And that is from the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set that is also in the annual catalog. So there's that one. And then this one I did the same. I just put the same paper on the outside. So that coordinates. And then the last piece, I used a piece of Pool Party. And the larger of the two pieces, this is the one that is 2 1/4. I tied a piece of the faux linen in a bow, and then I stamped The Best Moments in My Life Happen With You, and that is from the Daisy Lane. I stamped that in Pool Party on the Pool Party cardstock, and then added my strip of designer paper, and then did the same thing on the back of that envelope. So here you can see the 3 cards that we made, and that's using 2 6x6 papers for our January 2022 template. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please reach out. The dimensions of the cards will be listed below along with all the supplies that I used as well. All right, thanks again, and I'll see you all next month.